Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hoy vamos a aprender de los verbos que cambian y enfocamos en los verbos que cambian de E a IE, or the E to IE stem changers. Durante el video, por favor, mira y completa la página 7 en el paquete. Cuando ves este símbolo, hay algo en el paquete que necesitas escribir o hacer. Okay, let's get started. Stem-changing verbs deviate from the normal pattern of regular verbs. In stem-changing verbs, the stressed vowel of the stem changes when the verb is conjugated. So what do I mean by all that? Well, in regular verbs, the normal pattern is you start with the infinitive, you drop the ending to get the stem, and then you add the new ending that matches the subject. However, in stem changers, you start with the infinitive, you drop the ending so you're left with the stem, and then you need to add the extra step. That is, you find the internal vowel, so the one that is inside the stem, and you need to change it, E to IE. Then you can add your ending that matches the subject. One last thing that you need to know before we look at the actual verb chart is that in the nosotros and the vosotros forms, you actually do not change the stem. If we were to look at an empty verb chart, you would see that only the parts in orange highlighted here stem change. For this reason, a nickname for the stem-changing verbs is also called boot verbs. The reasoning behind this nickname is that the forms that do stem change are actually in the shape of a boot. So if the subject is inside the boot, you stem change. If the subject is outside the boot, you don't stem change. Okay, so now that you've got the basics, let's look at an actual verb chart. Let's look at the word empezar, which means to start. If it were a regular verb that followed the regular pattern, it would become yo empezó, tú empezás, usted ella empezá, nosotros empezamos, vosotros empezáis, and ustedes, ellos, ellas empezán. But we know empezar is not a regular verb, so we would use this verb chart. You have to stem change that E to an IE when it's in the boot. Thus, the correct conjugations are yo empiezo, I start, tú empiezas, you start. Él empieza, he starts, nosotros empezamos, we start, vosotros empezáis, you all, Spain, South America, start, and ellos empiezan, they start. Notice I did not stem change the nosotros and vosotros forms. That is because they are outside the boot. Finally, I wanted to give you guys a list of common E to IE stem changers. These are verbs that you are going to have to know. You will be quizzed on them, so make sure you study their meaning. Cerrar means to close. Comenzar means to start. You might see commence in there as a memory clue. Empezar also means to start. Entender means to understand. Pensar means to think. Perder means to lose. Preferir means to prefer. That's a cognate. And querer means to want. Ok, es todo. Muchas gracias. Por favor, completa el Google Form que sigue.